Hey there, welcome to the DFS Build MLB edition. I'm Kevin Robertson with Taylor Smith as usual, getting ready to go over the MLB DFS main slate over at DraftKings for tonight. The goal here is to help you win, help you think just about how you can approach lineups, and just give you any kind of tidbits that will be helpful. If we do anything here that does help you out, please hit the like button and also consider subscribing to the channel. Both those things help us out quite a bit. If you want even more advice, you can hit up our Patreon and Discord, $5.99 per month to get access to that. That includes the Discord, that includes all of our picks and stacks for MLB, and then all of our picks for everything else. We already have MMA picks up for the weekend. We also have WNBA picks up for today, so take advantage of that right now. All right, let's get to it here. Game by game we go, starting with the Yankees and the Jays. Cam Schlittler taking on the Jays in Toronto, and Max Scherzer on the other side. I don't have a lot of interest in the pitching here whatsoever. I think if I did anything, it would probably be the Yankees. Obviously, they got a lot of lefties to work with, and they can complete the stack with Judge. Scherzer has not been the Scherzer of old, and obviously he has issues against lefty power. So that's probably what I do here. But I'm not even that excited to do that. How about you?
Yeah, he's cheap, 7,500 on DK. So it's okay, as a secondary SP2, but very splitsy this season, very splitsy last season in a limited sample in both seasons. But the Yankees are very lefty heavy. They have 7 lefties in the projected order. Scherzer has a sub 13% strikeout rate against lefties, so not an ideal matchup for him. And the righties are good, obviously Stanton and Judge, and not Volpe, but I think he's playable. I don't think he's any sort of priority. I don't think anything's a priority in this game. Don't really want to deal with Schlittler. Don't want to stack the Blue Jays against him. I think the Yankees are okay, just for the lefty power. But I still think Scherzer's good enough overall to where it's not a spot I'm dying to attack.
Yeah, I think I'm right on board with you. If you want to play the Yankees, don't have a problem with it. Scherzer is coming in at 12% ownership, so a little bit of leverage, but not enough to say I feel amazing about them. But the splits do favor them if you want to go by that alone. All right, Angels taking on the Mets. Kyle Hendricks against New York. Certainly don't want to play Kyle Hendricks. Definitely have interest in the Mets. Frankie Montas on the other side against the Angels. He's been pretty good against righties as far as strikeouts are concerned, but he is giving up power across the board, mostly against the left side. So you have one lefty for the Halos you can feel good about. And I think you could still target him, obviously. Just don't feel really good about that. I think if I'm doing anything here, it is kind of a big slate, and you have Coors, but the Mets do look good. So I do have interest in New York.
I think I'm more on the Angels side of this one. It's just a very powerful lineup, and Montas has been pretty similar to Scherzer, very good against righties so far, not so good against lefties. We know the Angels are righty heavy, but they do have good barrel rates across the board. I'm not really sold on Montas being an utter ace against righties either anymore. So the Angels at what should be pretty low ownership in this park, I think look good. Trout and Neto, the expensive options, Adele, Soler, cheaper. Ohaki's pretty cheap. Seanwell's okay as a lefty. The Mets, I think, are fine. Hendricks has a pretty wide reverse split, so Mark Vientos is still cheap. He's been horrible this season for some reason, but cheap, historically a good hitter. I'm fine with him kind of more as a one-off. The cheap guys also, Mauricio is decently cheap. Nimmo's reasonably affordable. So the Mets look okay. I just think they're going to be more owned, so I think I prefer the Angels side.
Yeah, I'm not that worried about the ownership just because
Coors Hendricks, while bad, still has really good control, keeps the ball on the ground a little bit. He doesn't really get blown up like a gas can. So it's he always looks like someone you want to target, and then he just kind of wiggles his way through it.
Yeah, kind of like Comber that we talked about yesterday. I agree that is definitely something that Hendricks does. I just think if I'm going to target bats here, it is going to be the Mets for me. But I mean, the Angels definitely have a lot of power. I don't disagree with what you're saying there at all. Landon Root and the Giants taking on the Braves again in Atlanta. And on the other side, we have Davis Daniel taking on the Giants. I think, I'm okay with going to the Braves if you really want to, but I just don't really want to go for the hitting here, and it's just not a great spot for Roop. I just think this is probably a game that I'm going to ignore. I will say the weather looks good for this game if you want to go after the bats. And I think, Roop's numbers against lefties are not amazing, so you can start attacking him from the left side with Atlanta. But I don't know. This feels like a game I'm going to ignore.
I have a lot of interest in the Giants. I think they are maybe the best stack on the entire slate, ownership considered. Like you said, great weather in this game for bats. It's a major park upgrade for them, just like we talked about yesterday, and they did some damage against Bryce Elder. So, and they're also pretty cheap. Like Rafael Devers is 4.6, and he's the most expensive bat you have to consider. And on the slate with expensive pitching like this one, that we'll get to eventually, you're going to want kind of more affordable hitters, and I think the Giants are a pretty good way to get that. Jung Hoo Lee's under 4K, Ramos and Adames are in the 4K range, Bailey's barely over 2K, and Chapman's 4K also. So still have the same issue where Devers and Chapman are both third base only, which is problematic, but I do think the Giants against Davis Daniel, a journeyman right-hander, look really good to me.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it based off the weather. Both these teams have 4.75 implied run totals. Just given the slate, it's just not where I'm going personally, but it's totally fine. Davis Martin and the White Sox in Tampa Bay taking on the Rays. Really good park for hitting. Don't want to play Davis Martin. Drew Rasmussen against the White Sox. White Sox went off yesterday against Shane Baz, so certainly they could do that again here. I tend to favor Rasmussen here in this matchup. I don't want to go out of my way to get him because, like you said, there's better pitchers, but he's certainly in play. But both the Rays and the White Sox look good. It's warm weather, good park. I don't have a problem with them whatsoever. I think right now what the Rays are coming in with 4.85 implied run total. Chicago's going to go majorly overlooked because they're the White Sox. They're facing a good pitcher, and they have a low implied run total. So I think they're a little bit sneaky, but unless Rasmussen has a ton of ownership, I wouldn't force my way to White Sox.
The thing with Rasmussen's good. He's got good strikeout numbers against lefties and really good ground ball numbers against righties, so he's pretty unique in that regard. But his pitch count is insane. He hasn't thrown 90 pitches in a game since June 19th. 62, 54, 32, 53 in his last 5 starts. So he's just got no leash whatsoever.
Right.
And he's 8,400. So if he was 7K maybe, I would have a lot of interest. I still think he's playable because he is talented. I just don't really see the need to pay for that. Plus, the White Sox, like you said, are kind of an underrated offense. They don't strike out a ton. They have a lot of walks in the lineup. So if Rasmussen gives up 2 or 3 runs, kind of like Kodai Senga last night, he probably doesn't have a long enough leash to justify the salary or to bounce back from that. So this game as a whole is kind of a write-off. I'm not really interested in the Rays. I'm not really interested in the White Sox. I don't know. It's kind of just a secondary game for me.
Yeah, I'm not really going on my way to get Rasmussen. I think the Rays do look good against Davis Martin. He does give up power. It is a bad park for pitching. So I just there's other offenses I feel a bit more strongly about, but they do have a high implied run total. So if you get to the Rays, I don't mind it. If they get to be really owned, then I would probably shy away, but they do look fine. JT again and the Athletics taking on the Rangers. The Rangers were annoying last night, as I kind of suggested they could be, even though they had been bad against Southpaws. Classic. But again here, his numbers against lefties are bad. So as bad as the Rangers have been, they do have quite a few lefties to throw at him. So they actually could be okay here. I don't mind them at all. Jacob deGrom, though, against Athletics, he is the obvious pick. I don't really feel like messing with that. I think I'm just going to eat the chalk and play him. Will I have a little bit of Athletics to their power? Sure. But am I going to prioritize them? Really? No.
Yeah, DeGrom is solid. There are quite a few good pitching options on the slate. He's obviously one of them. Oakland is a pretty average lineup. They do have power, pretty high barrel rate against right-handers, but also some high strikeout hitters in there. DeGrom has been okay. It's not the DeGrom of old where he's striking out 40% of hitters. He's more 25 to 28%, which I think puts him behind Gilbert and Yamamoto for me on the slate. Still think he's a strong play. I'm assuming he's going to be really popular, as he always is. I will have plenty of exposure to him. And really, that's it. Not interested in Texas. Not interested in stacking against DeGrom either.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, we got Royals and the Cubs in Wrigley. I think the wind is blowing in once again, so that favors the pitching. But as last night told us, you can still play the
wind is neutral in this game.
It's okay. Well, totally fair. And yesterday was blowing in, and the Royals scored 12 runs, so it means nothing. Matthew Boyd against the Royals. They don't strike out that much, though. The wind's not blowing out. I don't know. I think you can play him if you want to. I just think this game, if the wind's not blowing out at Wrigley, I just tend to kind of ignore it. But the Cubs are the Cubs. They're very good. So if you want to play the Cubs, you totally can. I'm just probably not going to prioritize this game personally.
Yeah, me neither. I think Boyd is okay. He was 8,900.
Yeah.
Kansas City, another neutral matchup. Don't hit for a lot of power, but they also don't strike out much. And Boyd is 8,900 and Gilbert is 9,200. Like, I'll
Right.
just take Logan Gilbert for 300 more every time.
Yep. 100%.
Stacking KC, I think, is okay. Like, Sal Perez is cheap. Michael Garcia, Jonathan India, Bobby Witt. Like, there is right-handed power there to throw at him. I don't mind Kansas City, but that's about it.
Yeah, Boyd is carrying a little bit of ownership, like 14, 15%. So a little bit of leverage there if you want to do it. We got a Coors game. Cardinals, again, they were okay. They ended up being all right, but not like crazy good. Eric Fetty taking on the Rockies. And on the other side, we have Bradley Blaylock against the Cardinals. Cardinals are always better against righties, and here we are. They get a righty. So they look really good. They have a massive 6.6 implied run total, and the Rockies have a 5.3 against Fetty. It's just a classic play both sides here as far as the teams go. I want none of the pitching. I kind of do, again, lean a little bit more towards the Rockies, though, just because by default, they're not the visiting team. They're going to be a little bit more overlooked, but both teams will be owned. If you want to just kind of ignore Coors Field in general because the ownership's going to flock there, that's, again, on the board. Not as excited to do that today as I was yesterday, though.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the pitching's better on this slate, so we don't really have a ton of standout offenses outside of this game. I think the ownership's probably justified. I do like the spot better for St. Louis than I did yesterday.
Yep.
Alec Burleson is questionable. He left the game last night. I think he's one of the best players in the entire slate if he's in. If he's out, I assume the stack as a whole will get cheaper, though. And like you said, they profile better against righties in general with the lefties they have. Donovan at the top. Victor Scott. They are still pretty righty heavy, but the numbers as a whole are just kind of better against righties. I think Colorado's always fine. Tovar is still super cheap. Goodman, legit hitter. So not much more to add. It's Coors Field. It's going to be really owned, especially the St. Louis side, but I think it's justified.
Yep. All right, Astros again in Arizona. We got Framber Valdez taking on the Diamondbacks. Don't really want to play him against Arizona. I think you could go either way there. Arizona's a very good offense that you can play in any spot, and Valdez can dominate any matchup. Just not a priority for me. Erod taking on the Astros. Erod can get the whiffs, but this is a spot where I do like the Astros quite a bit. They do a lot better here against Southpaws. Really, really good numbers, and he does give up power. The Astros, I liked them a little bit as leverage on Gallen. That worked out kind of. It was like basically one guy hit a 3-run dong. And then, like, if you played Gallen, you were pretty pissed.
Bryce Matthews hit 2 home runs.
He said a second one. Okay, I didn't catch that. But that's insane and absolute bullshit because I was on the Astros, and, of course, I did not have a lot of Bryce Matthews. Or, fucking any. So that was annoying. But point still stands. Once again, I don't think Erod's going to be owned, at all, like especially compared to where Gallen was. But the Astros are in a pretty good spot, so I do like them.
I think he'll get a little bit of ownership. I don't think it'll be nearly what Gallen got. I think it'll probably be double digits on DraftKings. He's 7,700. There's not really a lot else that's cheap that you want to play on the pitching side. So I think he's a pretty good play. I will have a lot of him. I'm going to be over the field. He's 7,700. Like we talked about, Houston's not a great offense in general. And Erod, while a lefty, is a reverse split lefty and always has been. His numbers against righties, the power numbers are not good, but the strikeouts are there. Houston's not a huge strikeout offense. Bryce Matthews and Shea Whitcomb kind of bring it down, and Chas McCormick all in super tiny samples. So take that with a grain of salt.
Still looks good for them. 17% whiff rate coming from the righties against lefties.
Well, I think I'm saying it's weighted down like those numbers are just tiny samples. I don't really trust that.
But, no, I know. Yeah, one of them has like one at-bat against the lefty.
Yeah, Bryce Matthews.
There it is.
So it's the same thing, though. Like I had a lot of interest in Gallen and the Astros last night, and I'm going to do the same thing tonight. I think Houston's a fantastic stack.
Yep.
They always profile better against lefties. Even if he's a reverse split guy, he's still allowed a 372 WOBA and a 217 ISO righties.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's not striking him out, he's getting hit hard. Altuve, Diaz, Walker, Cam Smith, the whole lineup's right-handed. So Love Erod. Still love the Astros against him. Framber, while great, is overpriced. He's the lowest strikeout rate pitcher of the top 5 on the slate, and Arizona is a very low strikeout offense. So I expect him to be fine. I do not expect to get a lot of him at all.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Carlos Rodon, like going into last night. Like, good pitcher, can get strikeouts, but a little bit too expensive for the matchup. So Arizona, like, is always a team you can play. Just don't think you have to play them. And Fromber is fine. I just don't think you need to play him either. All right, Jacob Misiorowski taking on the Mariners. Great pitcher park. I do like him against the Mariners. Has struggled against lefties. 15% walk rate, 273 ISO. So certainly you can dial up big dumper if you want to, and any of Mariners lefties if you want a mini stack, a full stack. I think it's okay. Just don't think I'm going to do it personally. Logan Gilbert obviously looks better on the other side as mega chalk, but my God, the Brewers just keep doing shit. So if you want to get leverage on this slate, do a mini or full stack of the Brewers, and maybe you'll get away with it. Don't think that's something that feels like a logical thing to do, but in the name of baseball being the most high variant sport there is, I think you can. But that said, Gilbert looks amazing. If you want to play the Brewers pitcher, you can totally can as well.
Yeah, so the Miz is over 10K. He's expensive. He has a short leash. His control's been bad, but the strikeouts have been so good, and the park is so good that I'm going to try to boost his projection a bit so that I don't just wind up with none of him because I don't really want to fully fade him. I'm still skeptical that he's a 35% strikeout guy long term, but the talent's obviously there. He was a highly rated prospect for a reason. He looks very good. I would still rank him 4th behind Gilbert, Yamamoto, and DeGrom, but if
Yeah.
you prefer him, I will not fight you about that. Gilbert, just 35% strikeout rate looks pretty legit. It's significantly higher than his career rate, but the sample at this point is pretty large. So I kind of trust it. Milwaukee, like you said, has been really good lately. I think they've won 11 games in a row, but Gilbert's just underpriced, 92 on DK, 90 or 90, 92 on DK, 97 on FanDuel. So he's the cheapest of the top 5 there too. And I think that kind of makes the decision for me. Like, he's cheap, he's good. The Brewers, while good lately, are still average overall, based on season-long numbers. So give me all the Gilbert. I suppose Milwaukee is okay as a leverage stack by default, probably more in large field, but I'm just going to have a ton of Gilbert like I had a ton of Kirby last night.
Yeah, I mean, Gilbert's better than Kirby, too. So, like, it's not exactly the same. Kirby
Yeah.
looked good for his position and price yesterday, plus the park factor. But, like, you're looking at a much better pitcher in the same spot. So, I feel a lot better about Gilbert tonight than I did about Kirby. That's why I attacked Kirby a little bit yesterday. I don't think I'm really going to go out of my way to do that, with the Athletics and the Brewers today with these two chalky arms. And good point about Mr. Orowski here, because fine play, but 10.3 feels a little bit steep for sure. He's not going to be a guy I really get to a lot. Simeon Woods Richardson in LA against the Dodgers. Godspeed. I do not want to play him. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Yeah. Taking on the Twins. Not really a comfortable matchup for him. Like you said yesterday, it's the best home run park in baseball. I think you can play him. I think he's a fine pitcher. Grades out really well, honestly, and he's good at home. So I don't have a problem with him. I'm not playing him over DeGrom or Gilbert personally. Probably ranks 3rd for me right now. But the Dodgers look good, really, once again. They did not really get there yesterday with 5 runs, but they were okay. And eventually, they're the freaking Dodgers, man. Eventually, they're going to pop off. So I'm going to keep playing them if we're looking at Coors Slate and a couple other spots where teams are going to, or people are going to flock to. I'm gonna look to cap tonight with some Dodgers for sure.
Yeah, they're getting cheaper, so I'm gonna keep going back to the well. Like Mookie and Freeman are both in mid 4s. Will Smith still under 5K, even though he's great. Otani's pricey. Teoscar is also cheap, so I think they're not a priority for me overall on the slate. Like I think they're fine. One of the better stacks by default. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna get to them besides Otani by himself. And then I do love Yamamoto. Like I think the matchups for all the top pitchers are all kind of the same. It's like a bunch of average offenses, average strikeouts, average power. None of them really stand out in that regard. Yamamoto's strikeout stuff is a bit better than DeGrom's. He's a little splitsy. He's been allowing some power to right-handed hitters, so it's not a perfect spot. But Minnesota, beyond Buxton, it's not the most scary group of righties. So I'm getting more Yamamoto than DeGrom. I don't think that's necessarily right or wrong. That's just kind of the way I'm playing it as of now. I have far more of him than I do in anything else in this game, though.
Yeah, I like him. Worth noting that the scariest power hitter he's going to go up against has the highest K rate in the lineup. So if he can get past Buxton, he could have a really good night because he just owns lefties, gives up no power to lefties, and has a 30% K rate against them. So I think he looks great. Just right now, third in line for me. Okay, so before we go here, what is your overall strategy as far as how you're going about pairing your pitchers, and what is your top stack of the slate?
Um, I think my favorite stack is going to be the Giants, just because Coors is going to be the chalk. I do like the matchup for San Francisco with the park upgrade and the weather boost, and they're cheap. So I think they would be the one I would label my favorite. Do like the Angels quite a bit as well. Strategy, like if you pair two top pitchers, Yamamoto, DeGrom, Mizorowski, um, you can still stack the Cardinals. I think the Astros are very interesting in that way. Like they're cheap, they're in a pretty good spot as well. If I'm paying up for a team like the Dodgers, then I'm going to play Logan Gilbert and Erod, I believe.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. I said before, I do think Texas is a sneaky stack. I do like them a little bit. I don't know how sneaky the Dodgers are going to be, but with a Coors slate on hand here, I think the Dodgers are going to be a little bit more overlooked to cap the slate than they would be normally. So I like the Dodgers quite a bit. And of course, Coors, I don't mind getting that. We both kind of like Houston as well. As far as pitching goes, I want to, for the most part, go and spend up on pitching. I don't see a lot of cheap SB2s here that really call to me, like Erod. Like that doesn't feel amazing to me personally. So I'm probably going to try to go get like a mix of Gilbert and DeGrom, or Gilbert and I don't know. It doesn't really feel much better beyond that. Yamamoto, I guess, would be the other guy I'd work in there. But if you want finalized pitcher picks, Taylor actually, when he does the write up on Discord, he splits them between SP1 and SP2 and breaks them down really well. And of course, he splits up his primary stacks and then his secondary stacks and one-offs. So it's quite useful if you take advantage of that now. And Patreon $5.99 gets you access to Discord and all those plays, including everything else that we have to offer. If you just like these videos, though, and don't want to do that, that's okay. Just help us out by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and good luck.